Great to talk about a topic that I think will have a big impact over the next decade. I'm joined by both Paul and Doug. 5 minutes really will expand your horizon with these guys.
Back in the early 90s, I observed that the 80s were shaped by the advent of cheap microprocessors. Created the processing revolution. The poster child was the PC. It was very clear in the early 90s that the 90s was being shaped by different technology, and that was cheap lasers. Cheap lasing was setting off an access revolution, and of course we know the poster child of that decade was the World Wide Web. This decade, my forecast at the time, and I stand by it, even if I'm wrong, is that this is really a decade being shaped by cheap sensors, and it's an access decade. That in the 80s we created our computers, in the 90s we networked them together, and in this decade we've been very quietly giving them eyes, ears, and sensory organs, and asking them to observe and manipulate the world on our behalf. The poster child of that, I don't think has quite arrived, at least not for us, consumers. But elsewhere, I think the poster child is robots. That, you know, you take a computer, you network together, you put some sensory organs on it, and all you need to do is put wheels on the damn things, and you got robots. The most important sensor, we're going to see some cool stuff this morning, but in my opinion, the most important sensor developments are the things that aren't quite here yet. Combining the technologies we have into new products that really astound people.
Doug, anything to add to that?
I always like to look at changes in technology in the context of changes in society and human behavior. And I think that a number of things have come together. Just as Paul said, cheap sensors, I think the ubiquitous communications channels that exist are certainly helping a lot. But I also think people are getting used to using these technology with sensors in them. They're used to the GPS, they're used to things that their iPhone does. I think MS Connect, that's being sold this Christmas, I think is going to have an impact on how people think about and interact with sensors. And there's even a very nascent social movement that's called the quantified self movement, where a number of people, some of you may be involved in it, where people actually try to quantify many different aspects of their life. It ranges from the ridiculous to the sublime. On the sublime start, there a lot of people are monitoring their exercise, and with Nike Plus and with other devices on that sort. And there are a lot of fanatics who do that. It's probably the same people who balanced their checkbooks with Quicken 15 times a day 10 years ago. And then there are really ridiculous examples, like the man who ate only Purina monkey chow for a month and videotaped himself every day kind of taking notes about how he felt, because it said on the bag that it was suitable for a complete diet for any primate. And he said, well, I'm a primate, let's try it. So I think there's growing acceptance for using these things, especially when they're used in a seamless way. And I think it's really exciting.